Oliver Tree's final weeks are now being looked at through one unexpected interview detail. Weeks before the helicopter crash in Brazil that killed 6 people, Tree spoke publicly about what he wanted to happen to his money after his death. At the time, it sounded like another blunt, theatrical Oliver Tree answer. Now, after the crash in Rio de Janeiro, those comments are being revisited in a much heavier context. The unanswered question is not whether Oliver Tree made the comment. That part is publicly documented. The real question is what should and should not be assumed from it. Tree said in an April Zach Sang show appearance that he wanted the money connected to his work to go back to artists, not become what he described as a silver spoon inheritance. But there is an important line here. That interview tells us what he said he wanted, not every legal detail of his estate. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. People reported that Tree discussed the plans during an April interview tied to his album Love You Madly Hate You Badly. Apple Podcasts lists that Zach Sang episode as published April 24, 2026, with the description specifically noting a discussion about where Tree wanted his money to go when he died. In that conversation, Tree said he believed the wealth created by his work did not truly belong only to him. He described a plan for the money to support artists after his death, and he made clear he did not want future children or family members to inherit a fortune simply because of his career. People quoted him saying he would help children through college, but that the rest would go back to artists. That detail has taken on new attention because of what happened on Sunday, June 14, in Rio de Janeiro. CNN Brazil reported that 2 helicopters collided in the air and crashed into a vehicle lot in Recreio dos Bandeirantes, killing 6 people. The outlet listed Tree among the victims, along with Lucas Vignale, Gaspar Prim, Lucas Brito Chaves, Alexander Souza, and Charles Marcelac. AP reported Monday that officials in Brazil were inspecting the crash site, and that investigators were examining whether human error, air traffic control, or pilot responsibility may have played a role. AP also noted that Tree was on the passenger list filed with aviation authorities, while police had not yet confirmed that his body had been found. That is why careful wording matters. The crash, the passenger list, and the deaths are confirmed, but formal identification details were still being processed in AP's latest update. The public timeline is still developing. CNN Brazil reported that Brazil's Air Accident Investigation Center, CNIPA, was called in, and that aviation regulators were reviewing the aircraft and pilots involved. The civil police investigation was also underway through the 42nd Police Precinct in Recreio dos Bandeirantes. Before the crash, Tree was in Brazil as part of his world's first world tour. People reported that he had performed in São Paulo on June 6 and was scheduled to play Lisbon on July 1. CNN Brazil also reported that he had been in the country for international tour dates and described his live shows as a mix of music, theater, comedy, and audience interaction. That context matters, because Oliver Tree's career was never only about the songs. His image, haircut, videos, costumes, and surreal humor were part of the project. His official site currently highlights Love You Madly Hate You Badly and lists songs including Life Goes On, Miss You, Cowboys Don't Cry, and Hurt, showing how wide his catalog had become by this stage of his career. The Will comments also fit the way Tree often spoke about art, money, and identity. In the same interview, he said he believed people often appreciate artists differently after they are gone. That line is now being repeated because of the timing, but it should not be turned into a prediction or a mystery. It was a public reflection about legacy, not evidence that he knew what was coming. The Startline takeaway is that this story needs restraint. The meaningful update is not that Oliver Tree's death makes every past comment eerie or prophetic. The meaningful update is that shortly before a sudden tragedy, he publicly explained a belief about art, that the value created by his work should eventually help other artists. That is the part viewers can understand without turning his final interview into speculation. As of now, the clearest confirmed status is this. Brazilian authorities are still investigating the helicopter collision. People and CNN Brazil report Tree as among the 6 victims. AP has noted formal identification was still incomplete for one foreign victim, and Tree's April comments about his will are being revisited because of their timing. What remains unclear is the full cause of the crash and the verified legal status of the estate plan he described publicly.